Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting edition of the Stash Report from the Stash Project. If you have not joined us on Facebook, then you may not be aware that the video day is going to be changing to Thursday. Today is Thursday, the 2nd of October. We're already in October, or perhaps you'd like Rocktober. I have a change of work coming up, and it's not going to allow me to be free to do things on Wednesdays anymore. I'll be at work during the day, and so we're going to be switching to Thursday, because Thursday will be a mostly free day that should allow me to, cut these videos real quick during the afternoon when I have a chance. So, I said, if you're not with us on Facebook, you didn't know that there wasn't a video, and you were like, oh, well, that ended finally, thank God. No, it's just a day late, and now it'll be on Thursdays. If you do want to join us on Facebook and you haven't yet, and you're not one of the 7 people who, join us from Facebook every week, we just are The Stash Project on Facebook. Just search us in the search bar, and we're easy to find. We have quite a bit of information to go over today. It was the All Japan Hobby Show over the weekend, of course, last weekend, technically. And we have a bunch of photos to share from that, from the various model companies, new kits that are going to be coming out, or modified reissues that are coming out. We also have several kits that were reissued or modified reissues this week that have come into stock. So we have that to talk about. There's no notebook of knowledge today because there wasn't anything new to talk about. All the stuff from the All Japan Hobby Show we already knew about going in. We have one thing we didn't actually cover because we have no release dates for it, and it's just in sort of a 3D printing stage right now. But we'll talk about it now that we have some pictures to share with that. But the only sort of new thing that isn't sort of covered by anything that we've talked about before is that, at least on the Japanese vendor websites, they're saying that the Heller version of the Renault 4L will be coming out in January to them in Japan. Now, when it's going to come out actually, we don't know yet. It probably will be before the end of the year, because there are also 3 other kits that were reissues of old classic, like Big C pre-war classic cars, that are also listed as being a late Japan issue. We went over to Heller's website today, took a look, and they're all available to order from Heller directly. Now, whether or not you can find them anywhere else yet, I don't know, and as to whether or not, how long it'll take for them to show up on places like eBay, or if anyone here in the States is going to carry them, besides just local hobby shops. I don't know. I'm not sure who Heller's vendor is in the United States. I don't know if that's Stevens or if it's Dragon or who exactly is going to be doing their distribution here in the States for these cars, if you want to carry them. What exactly is going to be different about the Heller 4L as far as it stands right now is it's going to be the one with a steel roof. You may recall the Ebro one has a canvas opening top that's either open or closed depending on how you want to build it. The Heller one, at least from the photos, appears to be a steel roof version. Now, Ebro is also supposed to be doing a steel roof version, so whether or not there's actually any difference between those 2 kits, or, one's going to be distributed in Europe under Heller's name, and the other one's going to be distributed under Ebro's name into Asia and, abroad, that remains to be seen. We have no, kind of official information on the Ebro steel roof, which we should, because it should be out by the end of the year. So if they're actually going to keep doing it, they're not going to just let Heller run with it, if they're going to keep doing a steel roof version, we should find out about it shortly. But like I said, there's no release information on when that's going to be available, and anything European, when it goes to Japan, usually adds a month or 2 more onto it than would normally be, the actual release date to the States, or at least in Europe, where you could order it on eBay or through a European vendor and have it shipped over directly. So what we have to talk about as far as the All Japan Hobby Show, of course, will be all Japanese kits. So we'll start at, I think, Hasegawa. Well, that's the closest thing to what I'm looking at here on the bottom of this display screen. So Hasegawa, of course, is going to be coming out with that Sunny pickup truck, and apparently you don't get to see it. And now we're just going to be flipping through videos here. Okay, this is fantastic. All right, bear with us, folks. Technical difficulties beyond our control. So anyway, here's your parts layout. The Sunny pickup. This is going to be that GB121 long bed Nissan Sunny pickup truck. this kit will have two building versions. Technically, it's going to have like a stock version with steel wheels, and it also has Watanabe tires with sort of a lower. I can't call it a stance because it's not, there's no camber to it or anything like that. But it's definitely a lowered altitude than the regular one. Just to show you a picture of that in a second. From looking at this parts layout, it's kind of really interesting is the fact that the engine seems to be a bottom insert. You see it down there, sort of like the second thing from the left underneath the chassis frame. Kind of interesting to see it done that way. Don't know if that indicates that perhaps in the future this will have an engine in it, or that what their plans are with this kit. They're gonna do other things with this. Hasegawa, any of the Japanese manufacturers, any Kamado manufacturer anywhere, period. Revell, Round 2, Mobius, anybody can't survive on making something a single tooling, just one kit, and that's it. So something else will come out of this tooling. Now, whether it's the GB122, which is this pickup truck with a slightly different grille, or if there's going to be, custom versions of this, or because this pickup truck was a very popular work vehicle, and then it sort of became a classic collector piece, and now it's sort of got the same sort of status that older Japanese cars have, where they've, become, had Watanabes and lowered and became, sort of a collector's street value car. So whether or not we're going to see some sort of custom, wild Japanese kind of options on this kit in the future will remain to be seen. Nice little feature, since we're just sitting here just looking at this still, is that there are 5 rubber tires. So your spare tires are rubber tires. It's always nice to see that. The plastic fake rubber tire, plastic fake spare tire always looks fake. So anyway, going on to what the actual kits look like, here's some test shot build-ups. This white one obviously is your factory stock version, and the blue one over here is your lowered one with the Watanabes on it. Don't know if you're actually going to get a bunch of Hasegawa boxes to put in the back of it, but holy mackerel, those crates big. From personal experience, you could put about 3 dozen models in one of those things. I said, don't know if we'll actually get those crates in the kit, or that was just a display piece. But neat to see the build-ups. Again, this was supposed to be out in November. They're saying December 1st. So, about a month and a half on this, depending. I think they might get this one out a little earlier than the delay said. All depends on, what exactly they're looking at in tooling revisions. All right, now on to Tamiya. Tamiya's doing the one kit, which is going to be this BRZ Street Custom. The big thing that they're adding here, of course, would be ground effects, sort of a front splitter-ish type looking thing, new wheels, and these racing stripe decals. We were having a debate about this personally between a couple of friends, and the general consensus is we all hate these racing stripes. the blue one looks too much like a Mustang or something else, and the white and black we kind of like because the wheels have been blacked out. They're going to be molded in chrome as far as we know, or at least I should say chrome plated. Nothing's molded in chrome. But here's your parts board. As you see, here's to be all of your parts. You're going to get that those racing stripe decals are the new decals, because the smaller decal sheet on the bottom was already in the kit. So your parts are going to be new headlight and taillight reflectors, new fog light reflectors, 4 new wheels. That I'm not exactly sure if those are actually just some wheels they came up with, or if those are somebody's wheels in the sense of being a actual manufactured wheel. I'm not sure. And then your plastic tree, which has the winglet ends, a new shock tower brace, new exhaust, the ground effects, and the front splitter. I think there's also a new gear shift knob in this thing. So it's nothing wild or crazy in that sense, but it's a little bit different, enough to make it purchasable, I think, unless you've already built a brace of these Toyota 86 BRZ kits. Keep in mind that Tamiya kits are JDM. They're right-hand drive only. They do not have the ability to build them as a U.S. spec car. Only the Aoshima kits have those. But, if you build a bunch of Aoshima BRZs and you want to build a Japanese one with these ground effects, there's your ticket right there. The other thing that Tamiya was offering, and I forgot to download a picture of it, is a carbon fiber set for the BRZ. It also looks like it would fit the 86 kit, as far as I can tell. And I had ordered it in the sense, because I thought it would be a complementary piece to the Street Custom in the sense of being like maybe a hood or a roof, the wing, and like interior detail pieces. There's, the BRZ kits, all of them now have full engine detail, other than the Rocket Bunny kits and the original Aoshima kits, if you happen to find one of those lying around. But like all of the Aoshima kits that have been issued since then have had engines in them, and the Tamiya kits, both of them, always had engines in them in the first place. And this Street Custom keeps the engine in it. They're not going to take it out. But it's more like a carbon fiber wrap for the car. It has a trunk, a hood, a roof, a weird front end piece that ends up making the car look like some sort of, it's not like a bra of carbon, it's just the little piece that goes between the headlights where the Super emblem is. And it kind of looks really, really weird and changes the whole way the car looks. There's also like carbon fiber surrounds for the little side logo piece, mirrors, and I'm sure there's some interior pieces in it too. But I canceled my order for it. It was not something that in the end was something I was interested in. It's obviously up to the individual to decide. I can't say, well, you should go out there and you cancel that right now, because that's just ludicrous. But it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, which is the great thing about pre-ordering. I pre-ordered it. I don't like it. I cancel my pre-order. It's always easier to cancel pre-order before it comes in than it is to try to order something that's out of stock. Over to Aoshima, real quick. I should say BMAX, because they're the thing that we're going to talk about real quick here. BMAX is a company out of Macau. You may recall they are bringing out eventually a Chevy Cruze World Touring Championship car. You can see the stand-up for it down there in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. I didn't download a picture of it because it's nothing about it's changed. We still don't have a release date on it as far as being able to pre-order it, so I'm kind of interested to see when it's going to actually come out. But these are two brand new kits that BMAX is announcing. BMAX was with Aoshima's booth because Aoshima, as I started to say, does all of their distribution overseas. This is going to be a Honda EF Civic Group A, not rally car, but race car, and a second-gen Toyota Celica Group B rally car. It would be kind of interesting to see both of these kits done as actual, street civilian cars. It'd be nice if Aoshima was a little more involved with BMAX in that sense. Like, you guys, put out these racing kits and we'll deal with the street versions. But as of right now, there's no indication they're going to go that way. I think a lot of people would like to have a street car version of the Civic and a street car version of the second-gen Celica, because it was, a car that was sold here as well as being in Japan. And the rally car is so wildly different than the street car as far as all of the front and the back and all the aerodynamics and lift that's going to have for being in the rally and everything like that it's not really, it's a suitable base, I suppose, to make a regular one, but you have to do a whole heck of a lot of unrallying of the car to make a actual street kit out of it. Maybe they'll do it sometime in the future, but BMAX right now, their focus is on race vehicles, not on street vehicles. I don't ever think you'd have a real market for like a street version of a Chevy Cruze necessarily, but these two kits, because they're sort of, I don't want to say iconic Japanese cars, but just Japanese cars that have either never been kitted before, or the last time they were kitted, they're motorized junk and deserve a retooling. It'd be nice to see these things come out. So over to the Aoshima booth, the one kit that, of course, is the sort of newest in the sense of having the most parts to it that are different is the athlete version of the Toyota Crown. This is your what's new parts here. I guess it does say new parts in English. Okay, cool, because usually these part layouts are only in Japanese. But the athlete, because how different it is than the actual Crown Royal, has a new body and, of course, new body parts for it. There's a new set of wheels. There's actually a whole new interior for it. If you go back and you look at all of the Crown Royals and Crown Athletes that they did from 2003 to present, this has tended to be the way they changed the kits. There's new interior pieces for the athletes, and seems like they update the things once a generation or so. If you get like a 2008 Crown and a 2010 Crown, you compare the parts, there's only like the grille being the difference between the two. But this was of course a major redesign of the platform, so you get 75% of a new kit. The photo etched detail upset that's there in the back was available already for the Toyota Crown Royal, but it's going to be reissued again so that you can buy it for the Athlete. Some pictures from the Athlete itself. The black one is going to be your street version, and then as the Crown Royal had, you're also going to, people will probably cringe at me, keep calling it a Crown Royal like it's a drink, but it's a Crown Royal Saloon, that's what the name is. The 20-inch custom wheel one, which is the one that there were no pictures of until last weekend, is this kit. These are not new 20-inch wheels. They've been on a couple different kits, and they've also been sold separately as a wheel set. So, again, like the Crown Royal Saloon, rather, there's nothing new here, but it's newly packaged with this kit. So beyond that, it's just a bunch of modified reissues. Real quick, the race cars. You've got the allinkle.com version of the Lamborghini RSV and the Loctite version of the McLaren F1 GTR Longtail. These will both be out towards the end of the year and are not the ones that are supposed to come out this month and next month. Keep in mind that there are 2 of each of these, which, again, they've been available in the United States, or at least the first ones have been now for a couple of months. But if you wanted to order them from, like, Hobbylink Japan or something like that, you've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Here's your 70 Celica police vehicle. Obviously, the steel wheels are new and the police parts are new. There was no photo taken. All these pictures are from Aoshima's Facebook page if you want to take a better look at them. There was no parts tree layout to show what else might be new with this. I assume that much like the other Corollas, you're going to have to do some surgery to get the grill to fit and sand off a bunch of scripts. Your late version of the Toyota looks like a Lexus, but it's still the Toyota. The only thing I see new about this, as far as the pictures of it go, is that decal sheet that they're showing in the background. I don't know if that decal sheet is what makes it the late version of the Aristo, but whatever. It's just something. If you're really into Toyotas, then this is something you had to have, I guess. I'm into Toyotas, but not that much because this was a Lexus version. I'd like them to, if they want to kick out another version of the GS400 for the late version, that'd be great. Here's your Fairlady. That's the convertible 2005-2007, which of course is not a convertible itself. It's just you can switch it between the 2 model years. Very minor things there. This is basically the inclusion of 2 different kits in one box because they made it 2005 and they made it 2007. So now it's just everything's in one box. Let's see what else. Your marked version, which is really interesting because it has a set of slotted mag wheels, and then your unmarked version of the 430 Cedric for the cartoon show. You can see the machines there in the background, which is what these 2 police cars are part of that series. Your Toyota Century. This is supposed to again be a late version. I don't know what's different about this because again, there's no parts tree content in these photos. It doesn't look any different than the other kit, so it'd be interesting to see what's in it that's different. Maybe the mirrors. The mirrors look like they're maybe different. They don't look like they're painted with the kit. But the Century's been out for a long time. It rides on the same chassis that the Toyota Crowns do, in that you can camber it and lower it because there was an 18-inch custom wheel slammed lowered version they put out last year. And then try to make sure I don't forget anything. I guess the last thing that there's to show is the Pajero Mini, not the Mini ZR that's the Fujimi's putting out, but this one. I didn't think that this, I was wondering if this was a brand new kit or what, and then I did some digging and did some more digging and did some more digging, and finally I found a picture of box art of this kit in an S parts version, which is always the one with all the optional parts. Now, if you look at the background there's your optional parts. There's a roof rack and a grill guard and a different set of wheels and everything like this. This kit is going to remind you a lot of the CRV and the Toyota RAV4 that they put out, in the sense that they took all of the parts from all of the kits and shoved them all into one box. If you bought one of the RAV4 L Model J's that came out, I guess it was 2 years ago now, it has a factory stock vehicle on the box, but all of the custom parts from all the S series and the RV series and everything are in that box. The same thing with the CRV. That's why the CRV, if you look for it on eBay, tends to be very, very expensive because it was a limited run of the kit, and then it has all of the S parts and all of the RV parts and the factory stock parts in it. So it has, it's almost a 3-in-1 in the sense that you could build it like factory stock, kind of custom, or totally off-roading. And it looks like this Pajero is going to be the same way. I think that about covers it as far as your All of Japan model show. iHobby, the U.S. version of the big national model show, will be this weekend. Should be starting tomorrow, actually, out in Schaumburg, Illinois, which is out by Chicago, of course. It doesn't appear that Revell is going to be attending that, at least from the vendor list. Looks like Mobius will be there, and Round 2 will be there. So it'll be interesting to see if we're going to get a sort of a first quarter 2015 announcement this weekend, or if they're going to wait until next weekend, because the following weekend is the NNL in Toledo, which is traditionally where Revell has been announcing their next set of plans and displaying their which I want to say box art, but displaying their test shots for the coming kits and stuff like that. They found that going to the actual hobby shows actually gets them in contact with their customers, which is shocking because Revell doesn't like to talk to their customers. But they don't attend the trade show anymore. They have a presence there. They do a build and make and take and stuff like that, but they don't actually have a booth there anymore. It's not iHobby, which is the old Richta show, doesn't have the same presence that it did 10 years ago because the internet's here, and within 10 seconds you can just put a flyer out and ta-da, everybody knows everything, and you didn't have to pay tens of thousands of dollars for a booth and all that goes on with spending a whole weekend at a trade show. So like I said, I know that one of the magazines did an interview of Revell prior to iHobby, and they have the first quarter 2015 announcements already, in their hot little hands. So, we're going to get that announcement come in another week or two of what's going to be January, February, March of 2015. I'm interested to see what it is. There's been no real hints about this at all. Nobody's really been tipping their hands. So what it is, I guess we'll see. Now on to what actually has come out. I mentioned that looking into the Heller's Renault 4L, there are these big C classic cars that have already been reissued. So if and you saw these briefly when the photo software went haywire, they are this DeHale 135. This Hispano Suiza K6, and this Bugatti T50. None of those kits are new. They've all been done by Heller in the past. They're all probably 70s, 80s tooling, maybe. Because Heller went through a long period of time where they did nothing. They did list in 1/43rd scale stuff and some 1/24 scale curbside rally cars, but they didn't really have a presence for the longest time because when they were with Aerofix and Hornby and everything, and then they went bankrupt, and then they went into receivership, and then they came out of receivership a couple years ago. Things just sort of got all wound up, backwards in the sense that they were producing some kits that were, just trying to reissue stuff to stay afloat. Kind of reminds you of Round 2, or the Racing Champions era of Erdl, the RC2 era, and Revell between when Crayola owned them and when Hobbico bought them out, where there wasn't really anything new to talk about. There'd be a variation of a kit here and there, and then they were just treading water, trying to find somebody to save them. All of these kits are full detail. They're all at least 130 parts to 170 parts. How fiddly that is, I guess I don't know. I've never built a Heller kit per se. I guess technically, if I build this Renault 4L, I'll build a Heller kit because I think that's who actually paid for the tooling on it. But I haven't built any of these older Heller kits, so I don't know how well they assemble, but they certainly are quite comprehensive in their parts layout. The Hispano, if you go to Heller's website, has a 16-page PDF file for their instructions. Of course, there's instructions in the box, but they allow you to look at the instructions online for that. And it's, like I said, very comprehensive in what it covers. So like I said, all three of those kits are available from Heller directly. Where else you can buy them from, I don't know. If you want them, you can, of course, do your research on them. If you want them out of Japan and pay $10, $15 more than they cost because you have to ship them to Japan and then back to you, you have to wait till January. Ebro had one kit that they just released. I think we talked about this in passing real quick, and then we hadn't discussed when it was going to be released. But the Tyrrell 03 1971 Monaco GP F1 car. This is 1/20th scale, as most F1 cars are, and this appears to be Ebro's own tooling. It doesn't look like there's any Tamiya base to this that I can see. Excuse me. This can be built both as Jackie Stewart's car and Francois' car, because originally it looked like it was just going to be Francois' car. It can be built for the Monaco GP or the Spain Grand Prix. So there's, I think, like four different decal variations to this vehicle. The parts content looks very comprehensive. Some of it looks incredibly fiddly, but then again, F1 cars back then were incredibly fiddly. I don't mean fiddly in a non-assembly way, but if you just look at this box art picture, you just see there's just tubes shooting everywhere, and they've very accurately reproduced the tubes in scale, so that means they're going to be kind of small and kind of fragile. There's some wiring available with this kit, as far as I can tell. Something says something about the wiring says in Japan only, but if you buy it from Japan, that's Japan only, right? So I don't know if it's actually going to be in the export kits if you find one that's been sent over here and exported through like MRC or through Stevens or something like that. So I don't have a lot to say about that because I don't build F1, and I certainly don't build 1/20th scale. So if you're interested in it, the research is available. It's in stock at both Hobby Search and HobbyLink Japan. You got one kit that came out of Aoshima, and that's going to be the missing 2014 GTR Pure Edition. This kit was, sort of delayed, then it disappeared off of the corporate website's release schedule. Then it reappeared in its old position at the beginning of September, and September 30th, rather, we got this. They managed to squeak this one out in the last day of the month. It's pretty much the same as the 2012 Pure Edition is, except this vehicle has a new set of taillight reflectors, a new set of headlight buckets, the little little GTR side markers that are between the front door and the front wheel are different. I believe there's also a different gear shift in this kit, and of course the glass is all new. There's new glass for the headlights and new glass for the taillights to fit over the new headlight and taillight reflectors. Other than that, it's pretty much a straight reissue of the 2012 one as far as the bodywork goes, and then all the guts of the kit go all the way back to the 2007 kit. So, it's fun to have out there in the sense if you're a GTR fanatic, as I am. It's the latest update to the GTR. We're still hearing rumbles that there will be a left-hand drive North American version of this kit. If there's not, you can, of course, make one the same way I'm making my 2012 North American kit by buying any left-hand drive version of this kit and then kit bashing it with this kit. This kit does have an engine, so it's an engine insert. It's not a full detail engine, but it does have a engine inside. It is not a curbside. Also, there is this common detail upset for the GTRs. This detail upset will fit all of the GTRs going back to the original kits through the current one. You'll notice there's like two sets of grill photo etched down there at the bottom. So this will cover all of your GTR needs. It's been out of production for a while. I don't know if it actually came out with a 2012 Pure Edition. I don't remember seeing it. But it was like originally for the 2007 kit. So it may not have been out for like 4 or 5 years now. But there's two sets of paddle shifters in this thing. There's two sets of grills in it. So if you wanted just the grill mesh and the paddle shifters and stuff like that, stuff that's very specific to the individual model of the car, 2007 versus 2012, 2014, you could buy one set of this, and if you don't want the brake details and all of the goofy like seat belts and stuff like that, then one of these sets will at least give you the, I would say, most important quote unquote parts of this. Or you can, of course, need one for every set. This is around about $14, and I haven't ordered one yet. I might get two, depending. It'd be nice if Aoshima, if you're listening, would release the Nismo version of the new GTR, and they would do it with a left-hand drive, because, as it turns out, Nissan's going to be selling the Nismo version here in the United States. And that brings us to Fujimi. Fujimi, as you may recall, was doing a bunch of kits this month that were going to have window masks, or window sash, as the horrible Japanese to English translation put it out. And all of those kits have been released in the last couple of days. So, to remind everyone here, we'll go through this real quick. You've got the Pajero Junior ZR2. This is the K car version of the Pajero. You've got the Nissan Mid 4.2, a concept vehicle. Remember, the Mid 4.2 was never made. It was decided along the lines it was too expensive. Oh, I'm sorry, my cat just threw a bunch of stuff on the floor in the background, distracted me. The Mid 4.2 was never made. It was a concept car. They decided it was too expensive to make, and they didn't make it. This one does not have window masks in it. It's not a new kit by any stretch of the imagination. It just hasn't been out in forever and a day, probably almost a decade. And then you got the original Mid 4. This one does have window masks added to it. The Daihatsu Move CX 1995 SR Turbo. I don't know how much turbo you're getting in this thing. It looks like a rolling toaster with headlights attached to the front of it. But this, of course, has window masks added to it. The Daihatsu Midget. This is sort of marketed as like a 2-in-1 because you can build it as this sort of I don't know. They both have goofy custom decals on them, but the one in the background is a little less custom off-road than the one in the foreground is with all the extra driving lights. So technically there's supposed to be two different versions. It's like a SR and a DR or something like that. Then you have two VIP Toyota Estimas, Estima Fabulous, which sounds like it's just a Fabulous Estima, but it's the Fabulous Tuning House. You've got this one and then the white one with the half windows, which of course means it has the half roof, half of a roof, moon roof. There's a giant moon roof on the top of this thing. Basically, Buick and the companies here in the United States that have the panoramic sunroof weren't the first ones to come up with it. Toyota's been doing it on their minivans forever, and this is that version. So there's two different versions. Both of those have window masks with it, and of course your last one is the Honda Stepwagon. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. So again, they're trying to chinch you into buying two of these kits because every one of these has been. This Stepwagon, for example, was issued as a 2-wheel drive kit. Then later it was issued as a 4-wheel drive kit. And now they're putting both in one box, with window masks, yay. And they're like, you need two of these because you can build one each way. The only one we've actually been able to see the actual instructions for so far, because it's the only one that's coming to stock at $19.99 for some reason, even though HobbyLink Japan's billed everybody for all of them at this point, is the Pajero, and the Pajero was not one of these kits that you had multiple parts for. Interesting thing about the K version of the Mitsubishi Pajero is that it has a left-hand drive dashboard, and I'm not exactly sure where they exported that to. It's real hard to get information on that car because it's been out of commission for almost 20 years now, as to where that car was exported to that was not an Asian country or a country like Australia that drives on the wrong side of the road, quote unquote, wrong side of the road. So, it must have got exported someplace into Europe or someplace into into China or into South Korea, perhaps. Some Asian country, unlike Japan, where they drive on the correct side of the road with left-hand drive. So it's a little fun thing. You could always just say that, it was exported to the United States. It's got a left-hand drive. It's cool. Plus, the car's old enough at this point, I think, that it would technically fall under importation rules. The car has to be 25 years old in order to import it. So that's where we are. We will have an October release video coming out. There really isn't a whole heck of a lot of information to it. Most of the stuff that we just touched on is going to be our October releases. The Corollas, the Crown, Athletes are going to be October releases. There's some other stuff. We'll find out exactly what Revell thinks they're going to do this month, and that'll be it. And then maybe, depending, we'll have the information from Revell on the first quarter of 2015 releases. So, until we see you next week, see you on the other side.